So last night during an online race, it was a bit longer than usual. My wheelbase overheated. I was really confused at the time because I wasn't sure what was going on. So I wanted to make this video, explain what happened. I've had various comments from people in the past about the Moza products, whether they overheat. I think with the R9 it's a pretty well known issue. It's a similar form factor and passively cooled like the R5. So I think in that case it's kind of understood that it can cause overheating issues and reduce the force feedback. But the comments that I've had on my YouTube videos asking if it's overheated, I've always been a little bit confused because I've never really experienced the issue. However, after last night, I really understand it now and I've definitely have experienced it before. So what happened during the race last night was after about 20 minutes in, so we had a 20-minute practice session, 15-minute qualifying, about 20 minutes into the race. So by this point, the wheelbase has been pretty much flat out for the best part of an hour, maybe a little bit more. Did a bit of practicing beforehand as well. So after that time, it felt like I'd almost completely lost grip on the tyres. So at the entry to every corner, I was really cautious as to whether or not I was going to break grip. And I started asking everybody else, are your tyres going off? Is that, do I need to pit for a new set of tyres? For some reason I'm getting slower as my fuel's going down, so I don't know if it's I'm just struggling to pay attention or whether my tyres are already a bit shot.
It could be.
So has anyone changed tyres yet? I'm guessing not.
Nope. Nope, not for me. I don't know if
I'm losing grip.
tempted to do it,
Yeah, I really don't know. I couldn't understand why they would have gone off so quickly. It didn't make any sense to me. They were new for the race, they weren't the same ones that I'd done the qualifying on. And then it all started to make sense. So every time I went to a straight, I'd touch the wheelbase. It was definitely hot to the touch, but I don't feel that it was hotter than it normally is. It may be that normally in my driving, I'm just kind of at the level. But I think one of the biggest issues with the R5 actually is it doesn't just lose the force feedback. It reduces slowly over time. So at lap after lap, you kind of get used to it. As it drops off, which is almost worse with hindsight because really the important thing with sim racing is the consistency. People talk about low tail brakes being a more consistent braking feel, so every time you hit the brakes you're getting a similar amount of brake pressure. But with the steering wheel reducing its feedback seemingly at random through the stint, what was happening is every time I hit a corner I couldn't trust whether I could feel grip or not. So what I ended up having to do was just brake early, slow right down, and hope that I wasn't breaking the grip, mainly by listening to the tyre squeal and trying to dial it back for the next lap if I heard it. And that's really annoyed me, which is why I'm making this video, because it's just not something I expect. So really, I'm not 100% sure I can continue to recommend the Moza R5 based upon that, because if you've got less force feedback, you've got less torque on your wheelbase, but it's consistent through the race, that's probably much better than starting the race with a really nice amount of torque and everything feeling great, and then 20 minutes in, all of a sudden you have no idea whether you've got any grip or not. And I guess one reason why I've not experienced it so much in the past is living here in the UK, my room is rarely at a warm temperature. So if you live in a warmer climate, it's probably far more likely that you're going to experience these issues. Here in the UK, warming up my room is actually something that's usually desirable. So from that perspective, I guess the Moza R5 can cool itself pretty well. There's two settings for the wheelbase. One is called conservative and the other is called radical. And when you select conservative, the wheelbase can go up to 50 degrees C, and then when you select radical, it can go to 60 degrees C. For electronics, 60 degrees seems absolutely fine. It's concerning that it's called radical, in my opinion. I wish there was just a normal, perhaps, at 55 or standard, because conservative to radical seems like quite a big shift. So going forward, I'm going to try the radical setting, and I'm also going to try getting a little fan in the back somewhere to pass a bit more air through. So yeah, not the video I hoped to make today, and it's a bit of a shame. So I just wanted everybody considering buying an R5 to understand the limitations of the wheelbase. If you live in a hotter climate, I would be very cautious at this point as to whether or not you'd have these issues. If you have AC in your house and you can keep a constant temperature in the room, probably be less of an issue. I'll let everybody know in a future video how I get on with the radical setting, and also if I can find a small fan, see if that keeps the temperatures down.